Hi, my name is Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses with HealthyBlackWoman.com, and this is Shaquita Graham with LovingTheBlackMan.com and ATechco.com. How are you doing today, Shaquita?
I'm doing fine, Noma. How are you?
I'm not complaining. You may hear me coughing every now and then, but like I said, I'm not complaining. I was just reflecting about some of the conversations we have in between segments. And we were also talking about, earlier we're talking about the Beyonce halftime performance and some of the comments surrounding her outfit, her hair. And I got to thinking, and I kind of asked you the question of, isn't it interesting that there seems to be this thing where even on our channel here, we have so many beautiful Black women who have voices, and they come on to the Your Black World channel to express, their views and opinions and thoughts and passions. And I find that there's this trend of the conversation, excuse me, somehow always ending up with criticisms of our appearance, our hair, what it means for us to be Black women and how we should or shouldn't be. And I wonder, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that, first of all, I've been accused of having a wig on, and I invest in a lot of coconut oil so that this natural hair can be like this. But I do see that at one point in my life, I realized that I was too obsessed with trends related to my appearance, and I wasn't really taking into consideration what my husband wanted. I've worn hair weaves before and different things, and my husband, when I would wear my hair natural, he would love it. My sons would love it, and I started thinking, like, how am I dressing up for my man? Am I trying to look good for him, or am I just following the fashion trends that I'm told as a Black woman are appealing? So I do kind of get it from that standpoint. I told you before that I heard a radio commentator say that he hasn't seen an actual Black woman since the 70s.
He hasn't seen an actual Black woman since the 1970s, meaning that, we're covered in so much makeup and fake hair that we are almost disappearing.
Right, and I took that to mean that he misses that. He misses seeing the women with the afros, the women embracing that Black beauty that is unique to us. That's very difficult to replicate.
But Shaquita, aren't we more than what we look like?
Well, of course we are more, but at the same time, I think in the Black community, one thing that is important is the Black man and the Black woman achieving a balance. I mean, we are here for one another, and I take pride in the Black man's image, and I think Black men take pride in our image, and they like to see us. I mean, men are visual, and we are kind of the decoration of our community, right? In a visual way. Of course, we have more depth than that, but, God made women beautiful. And when we don't fully embrace that beauty, I think sometimes it's kind of, I don't want to say offensive, but it's off-putting. And sometimes a person criticizes you instead of encouraging you. Instead of saying, why you have that raggedy weave on, you could say just as easily, I love to see you with your natural hair. I miss seeing you with your natural beauty. I've heard so many men say that my wife doesn't need all that makeup. My husband has told me, listen, I mean, you don't need all of the makeup. And there's many times I've been like, see, he doesn't know what's cool. He doesn't know what's going on with Mac. Mac just released a new lipstick. I have to have it. And he's like, so who do you have to have it for exactly? And right. I think that's where, my perspective is on it.
Right. One thing about the observation that I can say is, I've spent really almost literally half of my life living here in the United States for the past 20 years. And then the first 20 years before that, I was born and raised in Botswana. So I do see a contrast. I do think that blackness is discussed so much more here in the United States than it is in, say, an African country like I grew up in. My blackness was never questioned until I came here. I was black regardless of whether I had a wig or a weave on. And I did not necessarily engage in conversations with men about my hair or my dress, or it was just not a thing. So maybe I'm having a bigger reaction to it than most people would because of, my split. I like to say that I have two homes. Here is my home, and so is Botswana is my home. So that gives me, two dimensions in terms of my perspective. That being said, I do think my opinion is that it is a thing about you. If you're a woman and you're in a marriage or you're in a relationship and so forth, of course, some part of it is your mate is attracted to you for specific things, and your appearance is part of that. So you can't deny that. You know what I mean? Especially if the mate you're talking about is a man. Men do like to see beautiful things, and their wife or their girlfriend is part of that. So I absolutely understand, and I think that they should be able to say, well, I like this and I like that. And there's a running joke. I can remember hearing a bit of a sermon by the Dallas pastor T.D. Jakes, and he had a whole thing where he was joking and saying women don't get dressed for men. They get dressed for each other. And I think you and I in another conversation said that women don't put on makeup and hair and all this other stuff to impress men. They're actually competing with each other, which I don't necessarily agree, because I don't feel like I compete with other women. I think that there's a third component, which is not necessarily that everything I do is about what exactly my husband wants, although I take that into consideration. It's not really about what other women are doing or whatever. It's about me and how I feel, and I like to change it up. I like to try different things. I like to feel good. I like to feel like I can try new things. I can express myself in different ways. But I also want to believe that there's more to me than how I look. And I would also like to believe that when I'm in a community of so-called Black people, and we're supposed to be, collectively moving, supporting, encouraging, and so forth, I'd really like to believe that the conversation doesn't start and end with how I look, to the point that you can't even hear what I'm saying because you're so preoccupied with what I did to my hair. That, for me, I have a hard time understanding that. What do you think?
I mean, I definitely agree. It's going to be about more than how you look, and people do want to try different fashions. And I think for the most part, men in the Black community have been tolerant of that. And that's why, it's at a tipping point now. And that's why that guy said he hasn't seen a Black woman since the 70s. He wants to see a Black woman. And I think that many times it's like we have to focus on our individual picture, but we also have to focus on our accountability to a larger community and to a larger scenario. And the fact is that the Black image is being contested and attacked worldwide. That image of kinky hair, of brown skin is being attacked. And it's so sad because that image is the most beautiful image really there is. Black women have so much to them as far as the full lips that people buy now, the full curves and shapes that people purchase now. I mean, even to the point where if they do the curly hair thing, it's similar. If they could do afros, I believe that other cultures would do afros because everything we do. Right. So everything we do is copied worldwide. And I think that it's about self-respect. If we don't embrace the natural beauty that God gave us, it can seem to signal to people around the world, little girls, our nieces, our cousins, kids in schools and things like that we don't have any self-respect for the beauty that God gave us, and that somehow we need to change that image. Now, what happens is people who are not thinking about that, they just want to try the fashion trend, they get caught up in that backlash. But I like the fact that Black men are right now asking us to, bare our souls from the standpoint of show off that beautiful side of us, and be proud of it, and flaunt it. I'm loving to see all of the African styles right now, and just to see all of the beautiful Black women on the scene, starting from Lupita to whoever. I mean, just in your local neighborhood, Black women are so beautiful all around the world. So, I'm for it to an extent, and I hear what you're saying too. You still want to be able to be an individual with individual taste, but we are that landscape of the Black community. We are the hills, the valleys, the sun, the moon, the leaves. And I think that we need to walk around with that God-given beauty as much as we as much as we can, but.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. But I still want to believe that I can be loved and appreciated by not just I don't have a problem, mind you, with my specific spouse trying to decide for me what I should or should not wear, do with my hair and so forth. I'm talking about the general community. I want to believe that I can be loved and appreciated, whether I'm rocking my more natural style like I am now with hardly any makeup, as much as the day that I decide to change it up and straighten my hair and wear my pink or purple lipstick. I want to believe that I can be loved, appreciated, and heard regardless, because my essence as a Black woman remains regardless of what I'm wearing on the outside. Although I will say, though, I do think that there is some validity to the question of your appearance, in the sense that you and I are both somewhat conservatives, in the sense that, both of our blouses right now are up here and not down there. If we stood up, our skirts are not, going to embarrass us if we bend over and stuff like that. So I do believe that there is obviously some validity to paying attention to what message you're projecting with your appearance. But I still feel like I should be loved, appreciated, and heard beyond just how I look. And that's all I'll say. I'm done talking about it now.
Well, I mean, I will say, I do agree with you from the standpoint that kind of goes into a respect issue between the Black man and the Black woman. Like, I think that, we're coming to a place where we know how to respect one another. We've been in this, sometimes we get in this bickering stance where we attack one another. And I think that's kind of the issue, because even if somebody doesn't like your hair, that shouldn't be a reason for them to attack you. Right. Especially as a Black man or a Black woman. I mean, it's like, okay, we need to learn how to have that, what Maya Angelou calls sweet talk. Like, I just love to see you with natural hair. I mean, you can just make that statement instead of saying, if you wear that raggedy weave one more time. I mean, going there, just cutting each other down, and that's affecting one another. And that's, what we need so desperately in the relationships in the Black community between the Black man and the Black woman.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's a whole nother can of worms when we start talking about the relationships between Black men and Black women and the back and forth. So we're not starting that conversation. But I do think that this would be a step forward if we could be more accommodating and kinder, accepting of people's choices. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, this conversation obviously could go on and on and on and on, but we won't. Right. My name is Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses with Healthy Black Woman. And I just want to say thank you to my good friend Shaquita Graham for joining me in this conversation. Shaquita is the founder of lovingtheblackman.com and ateco.com. And this, of course, is another segment of Your Black Women, or Black Women Keep It Real. So thank you, Shaquita, and thank you guys for watching.
Thank you, Noma.
Thank you.